Hello and a warm welcome to South Asia Today, where we bring you in-depth insights into the key events shaping South Asia. I'm Shivangi Mishra, and here are today's top stories. Young entrepreneurs turn Badohi's carpet heritage into global business. Global concern grows over Pakistan's reported attacks on Afghan civilians. And POGB residents take to streets over water, power and inflation crisis. Let's begin the show. Today's youth are not just looking for jobs, they are creating them. In Badohi, Uttar Pradesh, young entrepreneurs are turning the city's centuries-old carpet tradition into a modern global business. With digital design and online platforms, Badohi's hand-woven carpets are now reaching homes across the world.
In Badohi, Uttar Pradesh, carpet weaving is more than a profession. It's a living legacy passed down through generations. From preparing wool and dyeing yarn to tying thousands of knots on the loom, every step reflects patience, precision, and craftsmanship. A single carpet can take weeks, sometimes months to complete. Today, the process blends tradition with technology, designs are created digitally, colors are tested with modern tools, and finishing uses advanced techniques. Yet, one thing remains unchanged. The true identity of every carpet still comes from the skilled hands of the artisan.
ये भदोही जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि जाना जाता है कालीन नगरी के नाम से और यहाँ कालीन जो बनाए जाते हैं हैंडमेड कालीन है, हस्त निर्मित कालीन। और जब हस्त निर्मित कालीन है तो वहाँ पे क्रिएटिविटी एंड आर्ट उसके साथ जुड़ जाता है। भदोही के पास आज कई रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, गिनीज़ बुक ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स यहाँ अवेलेबल हैं।
Today, the biggest transformation in this industry is being led by the new generation. Young designers are introducing fresh patterns and ideas, while social media and e-commerce are helping Badohi's carpets reach customers across the world. With startup-driven models, even small artisans are connecting directly to global markets. What was once a traditional craft is now emerging as a dynamic and creative business.
The youth have driven their liking into carpets because of their aesthetic mindsets, and it has evolved as they are like youth are now more into natural fibers, sustainability.
In 2025, India's carpet exports rose to around $144 million, up from nearly $133 million in 2024, marking a growth of 8.05%. The figures highlight the steady global demand for Indian carpets and the sector's strong upward momentum in international markets.
कि जो कालीन हम बना पा रहे हैं हिंदुस्तान में, वो पूरी दुनिया में हमारे जो कंपटीटर रहे वो टर्की, ईरान, पाकिस्तान, नेपाल, चाइना, इजिप्ट, हम लोगों ने सभी को बीट करके हम लोगों ने अपना एकमात्र झंडा गाड़ा है पूरी दुनिया में बदोही के कालीन का। तो हमारा कोई कंपटीटर अब नहीं रह गया। अब सरकार इस पे ध्यान दे रही है, अभी इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन दिया है।
In the rural areas around Badohi, women are becoming an important part of this transformation. Institutions like IICT are training them in carpet design and weaving. Within just 2 months, many women learn the basics of design, weaving techniques, and production management. The training not only increases their income but also boosts their confidence. From their villages, these women are now stepping into the global marketplace, becoming part of an international supply chain.
ये लोग जो है अपना उत्साह से, क्योंकि यहाँ जितने हमारे आर्टिज़न हैं ये लोग लोकल गांव के हैं एंड अपने उत्साह से समय से आते हैं, समय से आके पूरे समय यहीं ये लोग तन मन से जो है यहाँ पे काम सीखते हैं, जिसका नतीजा आपको यहाँ पे जितना सैंपल डेवलप हुआ आप देखेंगे कि जितना कारपेट डेवलप हुआ उसमें से करीबन आधा कारपेट जो है वो लोग इनोवेटिव कारपेट बनाया।
The carpets of Bhadohi are more than just woven threads. They are a reflection of skill, dedication, and a changing mindset. Rooted in tradition yet shaped by modern technology, this craft is now being reimagined by a new generation. Every knot tells a story and every design carries a fresh idea. Wherever these carpets travel across the world, they carry with them the artistry of Bhadohi's craftsmen, the creativity of its youth, and the spirit of a self-reliant India.
Global concern is mounting over reports of Pakistani attacks on Afghan civilians raised during the 61st session of the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva. Activists and community voices warn that such incidents could further destabilize an already fragile region. Eyewitnesses' accounts and activist statements highlight growing fears over civilian safety, urging the international community to ensure restraint, accountability, and stronger protection of human rights.
On the sidelines of the 61st session of the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, activists and community representatives voiced alarm over reported bombardment of civilians in Afghanistan by Pakistan. They warned that such actions risk deepening instability and further straining an already fragile region.
These days we saw that Pakistan bombarded Afghanistan. From my opinion, it's not good, and also all of the people that they don't work in government, they agree with me that it's not good, because we are brothers and sisters, and also we are, all of us, we are Muslims, especially in these important days that we have Eid in our culture, in our religion. The Pakistan bombarded Afghanistan with that it know Afghanistan has so many problems in this moment.
Prominent Pashtun activist Fazlur Rahman Afridi raised concerns over the human rights situation in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and condemned attacks by Pakistani security forces in Afghanistan that reportedly killed civilians.
We have organized this conference on the sidelines of the United Nations Human Rights Council's 61st session, and here people from different walks of life, Iranians, Kashmiris, Sindhis and Baloch are participating in this conference and will raise the issue of girls' education, and besides that we will discuss also the deteriorating law and order situation and the military crackdown of Pakistan on the innocent civilians in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and even in Afghanistan where hospitals were attacked by the Pakistani military in violation of international law.
As concerns mount, participants urged the international community to take note, stressing the need for accountability, restraint, and immediate steps to protect civilians and uphold human rights.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi announced that Japan will begin releasing oil from joint stockpiles with producing nations by the end of March to counter supply disruptions caused by the Iran conflict. The country has already started releasing 15 days worth of private sector reserves and will tap 1 month's supply from state reserves from March 26. Japan's total contribution to the coordinated release led by the International Energy Agency is expected to reach nearly 80 million barrels. Additionally, around 13 million barrels jointly held with Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Kuwait remains accessible to Tokyo in emergencies, ensuring continued energy security. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has declared a state of national energy emergency, citing risks to fuel supply due to escalating tensions in the Middle East. In an executive order, he warned of global market volatility, supply chain disruptions, and rising oil prices threatening energy security. A special committee has been formed to ensure the steady movement and availability of fuel and essential goods. Meanwhile, transport workers, commuters and consumer groups have announced a 2-day strike from March 26, protesting soaring fuel costs and alleged inaction by the administration. The Philippines, heavily reliant on Middle Eastern crude imports, is grappling with sustained price pressures. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday chaired a high-level meeting to assess the country's defence preparedness in view of the ongoing West Asia conflict. Present at the meeting were Chief of Defence Staff Anil Chauhan, Army Chief Upendra Dwivedi, Navy Chief Dinesh Tripathi and Air Chief Amarpreet Singh, along with senior ministry officials. The review comes amid heightened regional uncertainty after Donald Trump delayed proposed strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure. Meanwhile, authorities confirmed 2 LPG tankers carrying over 92,000 tons safely transited the Strait of Hormuz.
In Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, growing public anger has spilled onto the streets of Gizir, where residents are protesting over the lack of basic facilities. From rising inflation to irregular electricity, poor water supply, and unpaid compensations, daily life has become increasingly difficult. Locals say repeated appeals have gone unheard, forcing them to demonstrate and expose deep governance failures alongside the continued neglect of essential public needs. We have a report.
In Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, the holy month of Ramadan passed under the shadow of hardship and distress. As people struggled with soaring prices, limited electricity and poor water supply, even basic preparations for the festival became a challenge. With daily life disrupted and essential needs unmet, residents were forced to step onto the streets, protesting for their basic rights and exposing the deepening crisis in POGB.
देखिए, इस वक्त गेज़र के अंदर तो हर जगह पे मसाइल ही मसाइल। अभी यहाँ पे एक तो रमज़ान का महीना है, इस महीने के अंदर यहाँ पे जो महंगाई इस वक्त बढ़ी है, यहाँ पे एक आम बंदा इस वक्त उस महंगाई से इतना तंग आ चुका है। एक आम बंदा बाजार में जाकर अपने बच्चों को कपड़े, गोश्त या ऐसी कोई चीज़ें खरीदने के काबिल नहीं रहा है। एक तो पहली बात ये है। दूसरी बात ये है कि यहाँ पे गिलगित बल्तिस्तान की पिछली जो हुकूमत बैठी, इनकी यहाँ पे तीनों नुमाइंदे यहाँ पे जो हैं, इनकी यहाँ पे स्कीमें थी। स्कीमें देने के बाद इनकी कंपनसेशन आज तक आम एक गरीब बंदे की जो ज़मीन कटी है, किसी का मकान गिरा है, किसी के बागात कटे हैं, तो इनकी जो कंपनसेशन थी वो इनको पेड नहीं हो रही है। यहाँ पे दरखदर कभी डीसी के दरवाजे पे, कभी एसी के दरवाजे पे, हमने यहाँ पे जलसा जुलूस करके चीफ सेक्रेटरी तक जाके हमने कुछ कंपनसेशन लाके लोगों में तकसीम किए हैं।
The ongoing crisis in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan reflects the country's broader failure to provide basic necessities such as clean water and uninterrupted electricity. Residents face daily hardships, and when they raise their voices in protest, authorities often accuse them of creating unrest. In reality, these demonstrations are a desperate call for rights long denied. The people are simply demanding what any citizen deserves: a government that provides essential services and respects their basic human needs.
पानी का मसला यहाँ पे देखें, और दरमदर से यहाँ तक जो कोई 40-45 करोड़ की जो यहाँ पे टेंडर हुई थी, वो औने पौने में उसको तो क्लोज किया। अभी दोबारा टेंडर करवाने के बाद दोबारा दूसरी पाइप बिछाई गई है। यहाँ पे सारी पाइप जमीनों के ऊपर है। यहाँ पे एक्शन बैठा हुआ है, यहाँ पे आरी बैठा हुआ है। इनको पता नहीं कि मालूम नहीं है, आम पब्लिक बावला कर रही है कि इनके सामने यहाँ पे जमीन के ऊपर ही यहाँ गई है। करोड़ों की स्कीमें यहाँ पे औने पौने में क्लोज हो रही है। यहाँ पे चेक एंड बैलेंस का कोई नाम ही नहीं है। यहाँ पे तमाम चीजें ऐसी हैं। यहाँ पे बिजली का निजाम देखें, एक सरकारी कॉलोनी के अंदर यहाँ पे मेरे ख्याल में ये एक्शन आरी जो आए हैं, ये टोटली सरकारी कॉलोनीज के अंदर 200 घरानों को यहाँ बिजली देने आए हैं। मजीद तो पूरा इलाका अंधेरे में है, इनका बुरा हाल है। यहाँ पे एहतजाज करें तो लोग कह रहे हैं कि गजर में एहतजाज हो रही है, जानबूझ कर लोग बाहर निकल रहे हैं। नहीं करेंगे तो नाइंसाफियों के पीछे यहाँ पे एक लाइन लगी हुई है।
The struggles of residents in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan go far beyond water and electricity shortages. The region suffers from crumbling infrastructure, failing roads, inadequate healthcare, and limited educational facilities, leaving communities isolated and vulnerable. Daily life is marked by hardship, with basic services unreliable or absent. Government apathy has forced people to protest repeatedly, highlighting not only their immediate needs but also the broader systemic neglect that continues to hold back development and quality of life in POGB.
In Nepal, hundreds of worshippers gathered at a mosque recently to offer special prayers marking the end of Ramadan. Celebrations of Eid al-Fitr, with people exchanging warm greetings, sharing traditional sweets, and visiting loved ones. The festival reflected values of unity, compassion, and togetherness, reinforcing social harmony and the spirit of collective celebration within the community.
Hundreds of Muslim devotees gathered at the Jame Mosque in Nepal, marking Eid al-Fitr and the end of the holy month of Ramadan. After the prayers, people exchanged greetings and warm wishes, celebrating the spirit of unity and gratitude. The occasion was also marked by the preparation and sharing of traditional sweet dishes, a key part of Eid festivities.
नमाज के बाद तो हम 200 लोग से मिलते हैं, गले मिलते हैं और अपनी रिश्तेदारों से भी मिलते हैं. घर में मिठाई वगैरह बनती है ना.
The festival imparts values of restraint, patience and self-control, reminding people of the importance of discipline in daily life. Iftar gatherings and collective prayers held on this occasion strengthen the spirit of unity and peaceful coexistence within communities. The tradition of charity and assistance fosters compassion and empathy towards the poor, the helpless and those in need of support. As the Eid moon is sighted, voices resonate with the greetings of Chand Mubarak and Eid Mubarak more than just words. They reflect a timeless tradition of harmony, unity and brotherhood. Eid al-Fitr goes beyond being a religious festival. It stands as a powerful symbol of social cohesion and cultural togetherness.
ईद के बाद नमाज पढ़ने के बाद हम लोग गले मिलाते हैं एक दूसरे से. उसके बाद कुछ अलग सा चीज़ आज खाते हैं और मीठी चीज़, आज मीठी ईद है, इसकी वजह से हम लोग मीठे खाते हैं.
The custom of preparing and sharing special dishes helps preserve the tradition of collective happiness and togetherness. Acts of charity and assistance contribute to building a just and compassionate society. The festival inspires values of fraternity, reconciliation and collectivism, reinforcing that the true essence of religion lies in humanity, promoting peace, sacrifice, wisdom and good deeds. The tradition of fostering stronger bonds between communities has made this celebration even more meaningful, reinforcing unity and togetherness among people. Eid al-Fitr, meaning the feast of breaking the fast, marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan, when Muslims across the world conclude a period of intense fasting and spiritual reflection.
As we wrap up today's episode of South Asia Today, we thank you for joining us. We'll return next week at the same time with more insights and updates. This is Shivangi Mishra, signing off on behalf of our entire team. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.